let's talk about what is that? Like, what are we talking about? These Twitcher guys, they have their own language, vocabulary. But
Yeah.
I know a lot of people on Facebook are maybe still holding to Facebook, and if they hear about Twitch, it's like, the gamers, yeah, streaming a game. There's a guy gaming. What do I have to do? Or there was that trendy we mentioned. We mentioned at some point, and we all know that, I don't know, some people on Twitch, they really don't share much of their content. They don't share something that's interesting for all. And we think that, oh, what does a metalhead have to do with a Twitch? Like, there's a game with some metal tracks in it. I'm gonna go on Twitch to watch a guy play a game, to listen to the soundtrack of the game. What we want to talk about today is what Twitch is becoming more and more. Not just recently; it's been like that for some time, maybe 2-3 years. But the Facebookers haven't catched up yet. I am one included. I got into Twitch a bit too late. I would admit that. And so tell us a bit, for you, how did you discover Twitch as what it is? Because you were on Facebook, just like we are now, the old platform.
And the old stomping ground. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
The geezers platform, that's what I'd like to call it. So how did you discover Twitch and like figure out that Twitch is not just gaming and get into it as a platform? Just tell us a bit of that.
It just happened because someone told me. It was that easy. It was basically I was doing the show on Facebook. It was nothing like it is now, obviously, but I was streaming on Facebook, asking people questions, and then I had an interview with a couple of interviews lined up with a couple of different friends, and I asked them like, "Yo, do you want to be on the show?" I do it on Facebook, and my very first person that said, "Why the fuck are you on Facebook?" was a friend of mine. We go back 20 years, and he's a full-time Twitch streamer now. His name is Fuzzy Bond on Twitch, and he's like, "Yo, man, I've been streaming on Twitch for a long ass time. Like, why aren't you streaming on Twitch?" And then I was like, "Okay, that's interesting. Maybe I'll look into it." And then I asked Mike Mallion, from the drummer from Monuments, to be on the show, and he's like, "Actually, I was wondering if you wanted to do a co-stream because I do it on Twitch." And I was like, "Actually, our show is on Facebook." And he's like, "What why?" So I just made I made a Twitch account to try and like just figure out what the hell Twitch is, because I exactly what you said. If you told me Twitch 6 months ago, or I think it's like 10 months ago now, I would have been like, that's for gamers. That's where Prodigal and Ricky and everybody hang out. But I didn't know there was music at all. I didn't know anything was there. And then I started following a couple of music streamers. I found out that, Mark Hunter is there from Chimera. I found Daniel DK. I started following them, and I was like, this is very interactive. It's a lot more interactive. And it's not a social network. It's a service. It's a platform. So you go there just to stream, chat, and when it's over, it's over. You know what I mean? Like it was much more to the point than Facebook was for me at that time. And I coupled it with the Discord and building the community the way we wanted it, because also Facebook has that, like, it's your real name, your fucking second cousin is on there, you can't share shit.
All the other side of your life, right?
Exactly. It's all that other stuff. Actually, yeah, it's true. The very first Twitch stream I ever did, fully on Twitch, was Mu'tasim Kabani from Middle East Records, and I remember telling him, "Yo, we're gonna do our episode on Twitch," and he went, "Why, dude? No one, no one's gonna see us. No one." But yeah, it was I experimented on his episode. We sat here in this room and drank. And did the episode, and I loved it. I fell in love with the idea of Twitch, and started obsessing and figuring out how to do all these crazy interactive things.
So if you want to try to compare, you already mentioned that Facebook appears to be like all the other things and all the social media and the cousins, but Twitch is a kind of an event place where you go live for an event and you go offline, you're gone, nothing else. No additional posts, maybe clips, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
And whoever joins you as a friend is not a friend, is a follower, right? That's a platform where you have a follower. and you schedule. They can check your schedule. When is this guy going live? You put a theme, a title of the event, what's happening on that live, what's it about. We do that on Facebook, but we have all the other stuff around it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of defined goal, defined function. You know what you're doing. That is an advantage for sure. That is an advantage.
I mean, it helps because that, like I said, it's when we're building the community and doing shows for entertainment and like sharing purposes and interviews and stuff like that, especially because it's a live platform. I think a platform that strictly does live was the best way to go, because it has different integrations that other like Facebook and YouTube don't have, like the idea of emotes, for example, or badges, or all these cool little things that you get with a community based platform. That I think that's it. I think that's the main switch that changed for me.
So while we're talking here, there are people commenting on what we're saying, and I'll have to check the comment and on the same time. And from now, every now and then, I can pick a comment and talk about it, and then skip and all that. But in the case of Twitch, you can have like something jumping on the screen, some noise, some explosions, some screaming or whatever. We get this dicks quite often whenever you have some guests, some specific followers, right? They like to share those loud things.
They like to share their dicks, yes, absolutely.
So in that part of the interaction, the guest is not just someone sitting and watching and listening. He's also someone contributing to the experience. And saying, I'm here, and here's my opinion on it. And on Facebook, we do it like a bit more by our own choice, by just reading the comment and interacting with it. But on Twitch is a bit more an active thing. It's always on, right? It's always going. In my perspective, and we did talk maybe about this, is that if we're having a conversation and we're diving deep into something, if we get dicks in the middle of talking about somebody's death, it's not the right time for it, right?
No, but we compartmentalize, right? Like I have 3 different events, 3 different shows.
Yeah.
So Mondays we do a theme stream, Wednesdays we do a podcast, and Saturdays we do either a scream stream or a combination of games or just a link dump or whatever. And all those things get turned off for the podcast. The podcast has its own kind of set of things that are activated, ask a question, or you can redeem claps or something like that. Mondays, theme streams, you have skips, so I kind of built it in a way where each show has its own set of things that you can do and you can turn off and all that stuff. But it's at the very end of the day, it might just be funny to click a button and have the streamer react to a scream or someone say dicks or whatever it is, or light a fire or anything. But at the end of the day, it's these guys financially supporting me, because bits are at the end of the day money. No matter how little or how quick or any of that stuff, it pulls in, and it allows us to physically do the show at the end of the day. So it's this back and forth. I think that's the whole thing about it. It is a fun show. It is very, very interactive, and the interactivity is what's keeping it alive. Because if that wasn't the case, I would not be able to do the show.
I see. I would agree on that. So there is a different strategy and mechanism on how it works, and for you, there's an incentive to go there because you have that closer interaction with your guests, with people, your viewers, let's call them. What would you call them? Twitchers? If they're watching you, what would you call them?
I just say the tribe, man. It's the fucking tribe. They're the maniacs that show up every stream.
Okay. So when you have those, you're close to them. They can interact with you. If they like what you present, they can financially support you by just buying interactive things during the live. They can even send you direct donations, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
They can even support you on Patreon if you have a Patreon. They can whatever. You can find different mechanisms, but eventually that could support you financially to extend on this project and improve what you do, build up, get the hardware you need. Before we get into the hardware, because I have quite a discussion there. There's the comment from the admin of LebMetal, like my the other half of LebMetal. So in LebMetal, there's me, the guy you see the face, and there's Patrick. Patrick is the guy behind the scenes, running things. He's the admin, though. Don't upset the admin. And
What
he
up,
says,
Patrick?
"Hey Patrick, thank you for monitoring and running things smoothly." He wrote that we at the moment have about 3,000 followers on Facebook. So we have our, let's say, the platform. We have a connection to 3,000 people, but we do know that Facebook are gonna to the 3,000. If you post something, it's not going to the 3,000, no matter what you do. But we still have people that we can reach. We have the reach. And if we post now an event, at least it will reach 500, 400, at least. But if we jump today, okay, if we decide today to jump to Twitch, LebMetal is going on Twitch for the next event, for the next interview. We will have, at the moment, I'm starting something, I'm learning there, and I have 8 people. So I am losing those 400, and I'll have to try to drag them in, or I'll have to build another 3,000 or 400 at least for me on Twitch to at least balance the numbers, so I can have a reach for those 400. So how do you manage to transition to the Twitch as a platform and build up the audience?
I did the same. I had 6,000 on my Facebook page.
Yeah.
And when we first moved to Twitch, there's a couple of people in the chat that were around when we first started on Twitch. There were 3 viewers. The very first highlight video that we did had 6 viewers. We played games, and I did the podcast there and stuff. And we built it. We built it basically from scratch. It was we can make a poll exactly. We just built it from scratch, and the people that were like dedicated enough and wanted to support the show the way it was. I know a lot of people that were on Facebook that made Twitch accounts specifically for Unmuted. Like they've never had a Twitch account before, and they made it just to continue watching the show. And from there, with a raid here and a shout out here, they started following other people, and now Twitch is, part of their apps that they frequent and part of their daily life. So it's I think it's just what the goal is at the end of the day. My goal was to have the community vibe and have something that was as interactive as possible. Facebook doesn't have, a mosh command. You can't do that physically. So I wanted to do all these silly things, and Twitch allows heavy silliness. Let's just
I see. I remember in my case, I had an interview with Bassem Daibis back on. And when we were discussing this thing, he said, "Why don't you go on Twitch?" He mentioned Twitch to me. And I discovered the world of Twitch through his suggestion. And he said, "I'm on this Unmuted, the tribe, join the tribe." And he shared the link or something. He was going live, and I went there, watched the stuff, and got in a bit shy, who's here, who's there, what's happening. And I figured out that, there's a community on Twitch. There's a lot of metal stuff happening, a lot of metal interviews, metal nights, watching a movie, listening to metal music, suggesting stuff. I enjoyed it. A lot of sharing, a lot of things you can do. And I've been part of it since I got into it, and I'm trying to drag some people with me.